Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are jumping straight into Britain's truly remarkable 1,000-year history of standing firm against internal and external threats. We'll be using some incredible historical accounts to guide us through what is honestly a fascinating story of survival. 1,000 years of survival. Now that is a massive amount of time, right? But we're not just looking at isolated random events here. We're going to trace 3 interconnected icons that absolutely define the nation's ability to withstand time and turmoil. As you'll see, we're tracking how survival evolved from thick stone walls to the sheer unbreakable willpower of the people. Okay, here's our historical roadmap for today. We'll hit Part 1, the ancient fortress, Part 2, secrets in the tower, Part 3, Britain's iron leader, Part 4, defending the skies, and finally Part 5, the blitz and victory. Let's dive in. Section 1, the ancient fortress. This is where we lay the literal foundation of British defense. So we begin with the physical embodiment of endurance right on the banks of the River Thames, the Tower of London. William the Conqueror built this massive structure way back around 1078, and it was primarily to protect London and, let's be real, to aggressively project his power over the English people. But it wasn't just a military stronghold. Over the centuries, the tower evolved dramatically. It served as a royal palace, a treasury, a prison, and believe it or not, a zoo. Yeah, exotic animals like lions and polar bears were literally kept right there within the fortress walls just for the royal family's entertainment. Now, you absolutely cannot talk about the tower without mentioning its most famous residents. The yeoman warders, who you probably know as the beefeaters, act as the ceremonial guardians of the castle. But their most crucial job? It might just be caring for the tower's legendary ravens. See, according to this deeply held old legend, if the ravens they guard ever leave the tower, the kingdom itself will fall. It's this fascinating blend of myth and duty that continues to this very day. Section 2, secrets in the tower. Let's peel back the layers and see how those stone walls hid some truly dark chapters. Because, yeah, behind those ancient stone walls lies a pretty heavy history of betrayal and execution. The tower became this notorious prison for famous figures like Lady Jane Grey and, of course, Anne Boleyn, who was executed for treason back in 1536. But among all these famous executions, there's one truly unsettling mystery from 1483. What actually happened to the princes? Young Edward V and his brother Richard vanished without a trace while they were living inside the castle walls. They were literally never seen again, creating a mystery that historians are actually still debating today. Yet, despite wars, fires, and all these dark secrets, the tower survived. Today, it stands incredibly strong, serving as the protector of the magnificent crown jewels. It remains this powerful, tangible reminder of England's royal past and its capacity to endure. Section 3, Britain's iron leader. We're shifting gears here, from the unyielding stone of ancient castles to the sheer endurance of the human spirit. And that brings us to the man who inspired a nation during its absolute darkest hour, Winston Churchill. His incredible timeline is, honestly, like a movie. It spans from his birth in 1874 at Blenheim Palace to the very pinnacle of global leadership. His life took him from being a soldier and an author right up to the highest political office. The pivotal moment hits right here in May 1940. Just as Nazi Germany was rapidly conquering country after country in Europe, Churchill became prime minister. He later went on to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953 and was honored with a state funeral in 1965 at the age of 90. When faced with the very real, terrifying possibility of invasion, a lot of people feared the nation would just be defeated. But instead of surrendering, Churchill used his words as his primary weapon. His famous declaration, "We shall fight on the beaches," wasn't just political rhetoric. It gave immense, vital hope to a nation facing its absolute greatest challenge. Later on, as the war escalated up into the skies, he dropped this legendary phrase, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." With those words, he brilliantly bridged the gap between his resolute leadership in Parliament and the actual fighters defending the nation, paying the ultimate tribute to the incredibly brave pilots of the Royal Air Force. Which leads us directly into Section 4, defending the skies. This was the crucible of the summer of 1940. This was the ultimate test where Churchill's leadership and British resilience were challenged, not by an army on the ground, but from the air. To really grasp the scale of this threat, we have to look at the Luftwaffe.
This was the German Air Force, acting on direct orders from Adolf Hitler to just obliterate Britain's airfields, aircraft, and radar stations. The threat was severe. Germany firmly believed that wiping out the Royal Air Force was the absolute necessary first step to making a land invasion of the UK a walk in the park.
But here's the thing. Britain was ready for them. While the Luftwaffe's goal was sheer destruction to enable an invasion, British and Allied pilots flying iconic aircraft, like the Spitfire and the Hurricane, had a massive, game-changing strategic advantage: advanced radar. This technology allowed the RAF to detect incoming bombers while they were still way out over the channel. It gave British pilots the precious time they needed to scramble and prepare for battle before the enemy even reached the coast.
Section 5. The Blitz and Victory. When that initial strategy failed to break the Royal Air Force, the conflict took a much, much darker turn.
The fighting shifted entirely away from airfields and turned into devastating bombing raids directly on civilian populations. This period became known as the Blitz. Major cities, especially London, were pounded continuously. Families were forced to spend their nights sheltering deep underground in subway stations. Yet, amidst the heavy destruction and just tragic loss of life, firefighters and rescue workers risked everything. And the British people? They absolutely refused to surrender. Their morale held firm. And guess what? That unbreakable morale completely paid off. By September 1940, Hitler was forced to cancel his invasion plans. Germany had failed to destroy the RAF and suffered incredibly heavy losses in the process. This victory in the Battle of Britain became a crucial turning point in World War II, proving for the very first time that the Nazi war machine could, in fact, be defeated. So, the real so what of all this is that surviving 1940 paved the way for everything that followed. Because Britain didn't fall, Churchill was able to maintain his steadfast leadership and work closely with American President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. Together, this monumental collaboration led to the ultimate defeat of Nazi Germany and the reshaping of post-war Europe, culminating in the 1945 victory in Europe. What we are left with is a profound legacy of resilience. I mean, think about it. From the yeoman warders guarding the ancient stones of the tower to prevent the kingdom's fall, all the way to Winston Churchill using his voice and spirit to guard the kingdom against a Nazi invasion, Britain's history across 1,000 years is fundamentally defined by its absolute refusal to fall. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. What truly stands stronger? Is it an impenetrable stone fortress built by kings, or is it the unbreakable will of a united people? Ultimately, it's the combination of both, the unyielding monuments and the unbreakable human spirit, that truly shape the very course of history. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you